Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Vivid Earth. Anina, Malherbe-Lan back with two South Africans today. I've got Maleshane and Pascale, and they are trained in Aurora, Phoenix Rising Aurora, who I interviewed not too long ago. They are trained in A.U.R.A Hypnosis and R.A.A.H Reiki, well, respectively, Pascale and Maleshane. And we thought it would be great to unpack those two subjects today. Also do a little bit of an introduction to what is Reiki and what is, regression hypnosis and what aura hypnosis is, because I think a lot of people, we assume everyone knows, but sometimes people don't know. And, I just think it's such an opportune time to step into these roles. In terms of South Africa, there's so much healing that needs to happen on this continent and in this country. So I am always thrilled when I see people just stepping into their mission and their role and helping with healing of this beautiful continent. As much as we need healing all around the world, we need sometimes South Africans to connect with other South Africans. So I find that beautiful. Welcome, Maleshane and Pascale.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us on today.
Beautiful to have you on. Now, I'm going to ask you, so I can do justice, because I may not be able to do justice, to introduce yourself. Maleshane, maybe you want to start. What is it that you do and how did you get into this space?
Well, I call myself just a spiritual healer, and Reiki is just a technique that I use to help clients heal any spiritual issues or health issues that they may have. So I mainly use R.A.A.H Reiki, and it helps with a lot of, for the South African people and mostly my client base, a lot of people that have negative attachments on them. So a lot of people, especially people who are spiritually gifted and they feel stuck and they just want to align their chakras to open up communication with their ancestral guides or angelic beings. They mostly come to me for that so that they can open themselves up to receive. And then there's a group of people that have a lot of negative energy on them, around them, and they feel stuck, whether it's financially, whether it's in the relationship, or they just feel hopeless, with a lot of mental issues that South Africans have. So it goes to a different arenas. Whatever a person struggles with, I help them with R.A.A.H Reiki. So it's not really specific to any area of life. You just have to have an open heart to it. And we do the sessions online, and that's my main modality.
Beautiful. And as I understand, Aurora's methods that she teaches focuses on like entity removal and that kind of thing, which not many people are focusing on. And I think people may not realize how prevalent, sorry for the long thing, how prevalent entity and entity attachments are right now. And it's not always what people think it is either, Sometimes an archon can just be created out of intense negative emotion, not necessarily a being that is coming in the night attacking you. So there's a lot of nuances to that I think people don't always understand, and would be quite interesting to unpack that. But before we do, Pascale, maybe you want to just give us an introduction to who you are, what you do, and how you got to do what you do now.
Sure. I'm Pascale Bosch. I'm the owner of a little health shop here in Clanwilliam in the beautiful Cedarburg Mountains. It's just outside Cape Town. I offer the A.U.R.A Hypnosis Healing sessions now for 2 years, and the R.A.A.H Reiki I've been offering for 1 year. I do the modalities online and in person in my house. I got started by looking for somebody who could help me heal from a lot of childhood trauma that really controlled my life. And that is, most of the clients that I attract to me have a lot of trauma that keeps them very stagnant and stuck and just replaying negative cycles over and over again. Also healing from the death of a loved one. Had a lot of clients from that. And obviously the modalities assistant healing, so many things. There's really not an end to the list. Yes, and this year I've also working towards getting certified to be a doula, a birth doula, so supporting women with labor, emotional support, and physical support. A little bit about me.
Yeah, just on that subject, I mean, you know, I think what trauma babies and mothers go through when they give birth in these horrible hospitals that they've designed for us, maternity wards, as they like to call them. And I wonder why it's called ward when we're talking about prison wards as well.
Yeah.
Such a cold, negative space. And so that's beautiful, because I think pretty soon, hopefully, mothers won't have to give birth in hospitals anymore. But let's maybe dive into what makes Aurora's methods different, because you know, I did ask her this question briefly when I interviewed her a couple of weeks ago. So specific to A.U.R.A hypnosis, I asked her what is the difference to Dolores Cannon's method, the QHHT, the quantum healing hypnosis that a lot of people know, and she briefly explained to me. Maybe one of you want to kind of explain from your point of view what you see as the difference in these two healing modalities.
As far as I know, with QHHT, they don't really deal with negative entities, because I believe Aurora started with QHHT, and then she started having a lot of clients who would say, I have a negative entity, and then she didn't know how to approach that, because the whole community don't believe in negative attachments. And so that led her to create her own hypnosis technique. And so with me, I got attracted to that because I used to have a lot of negative attachments. And I could see some of them were like from past lifetimes. So it wasn't just about removing negative entity. I had to like go to that lifetime and understand why did this entity attach to me. Is the spiritual lesson? Because before that, I was using a lot of traditional methods. And, you know, you go to a traditional healer or a prophetic healer, and then they remove negative entities. But I kept on getting the messages that I need to learn the lesson. So I was like, okay, I feel like hypnosis will be a good method for me, because then you get to speak to your higher self. We'll be able to explain to you, okay, this is an entity attached because of this situation. This is the spiritual lesson and a soul lesson that you have to learn. And so I think Aurora's method acknowledges negative entities. So a lot of people who be attracted to a method, the teachings, the channelings, are people who, I won't say, you know, you can't always agree with a person on everything, but I will say they understand, they've seen those things in their dreams, in their visions. You know, I will see a lot of technology in my dreams, computers and phones and TVs, and I wouldn't understand it. And I couldn't even explain it to a traditional healer, because they don't really deal with that type of things. And so I would say that's the biggest thing with the RAAH. It doesn't matter what you see. It doesn't matter how strange it is. When people come to us, they feel comfortable saying that I see the weirdest things and I can't even explain it. And it's like, it's fine. Even though I don't know what you have seen, or I don't fully understand it, I know that I do not discount your experience just because I don't have experience with that particular, you know, maybe entity or experience. So it kind of opens you up to just not limiting yourself as a spiritual healer, just being open to people's experiences, and holding space for them to heal yourself, because at the end of the day, they are self-healing modalities, you know. So we're just there to hold the space so that the clients can heal themselves.
Absolutely. And I think people don't realize, you know, we know that we have enemies out there, right? Spiritual enemies who like to make our path difficult, who like to suppress our power, who likes to make us believe we're not powerful beings. And so they've really perfected this art of putting stumbling blocks in our way. And so, not that I just blame them, because we have to take self-responsibility for whatever happens in our life and whatever we have to deal with. But we've also got to acknowledge and not be naive to the fact that this has been going on for thousands of years. There's been beings and races and that's been trying to suppress us, and because there's a lot of very powerful things on this earth that they want to keep firmly under their control. So and I mentioned to you, Maleshane, the other day, I find this quite fascinating and super powerful, because this continent really needs a lot of healing. There's been so much trauma, so much ancestral trauma and issues and division, and a lot of this is not created by us. I say to these generations, they want to blame that one or this one. I said, those people are long gone, they're dead. It's time to move on, move forward. Now take self-responsibility for your own life and your own inner world. And if you have stuff, if you have shadows to deal with, if you have entities to deal with, if you need to learn lessons, take control of that, But don't be naive and think, oh, those things don't exist, it can't be, everything is cool. Because I think as a race, we tend to be quite naive regarding these things. We don't always believe it's possible, or that it's,
Yeah.
So I think that is very powerful. And, especially if you look back at things like the Anunnaki's history with Africa and South Africa, and a lot of the experimentation that they've done here, and Adam's calendar and all these places. And of course, there's a lot of I almost want to say entities that they kind of left here to kind of guard us and keep us suppressed in our little cages, and to limit us. And so it's such an important thing right now, because as I said to you, I believe we are the generation, as awakened ones, we are the generations that are getting rid of ancestral trauma, that are healing our bloodlines collectively. And that's why a lot of people are dealing with a lot of stuff, because it's not always their stuff. Like you say, people come to you with all these issues, and it's not even their issues sometimes. But kind of, we signed up for this mission, right? To come here at this time on the planet to heal the human race from all of this trauma, all of the bloodline issues that it gets carried forward in the basically the water, right? The umbilical cord, you pass it on from the mother to the child, and that child passes it on to the next generation. So it's important that we don't look the other way and pretend everything is fine and everything is love and light, but we actually deal with these things, and we do something about them, and we are brave and fearless in tackling this issue, not just blindly, obviously with people that have the right experience, but that we actively work through these things. So I think that is so beautiful, and I'm excited. Now, Maleshane, you specialize in the Reiki. Pascale, you specialize in hypnosis. And tell us, maybe Pascale can tell us, how do you guys work together? Because you seem to work closely together. And how do you complement one another's offerings?
I think the way we complement each other is that before the hypnosis, it's really important to consider doing a Reiki session first, because it almost sets you up for the hypnosis session. It's easier to connect in the hypnosis. There's not too much in the body scan. So you have a good portion that you can really go and travel to the quantum realm, whether it's past life, childhood, or even future life is possible. And that creates, it's almost like a stepping stone. So Maleshane is a really good Reiki practitioner. She really goes deep, and she's really great at that. And it's a stepping stone, starting point to healing whatever it is that you need to have healed. And then if there needs to be deeper healing done, then you can consider doing a hypnosis session. And it's not for everybody. There's some people that, are not comfortable with being placed in hypnosis. You don't know what's going to come up. Some people really want that control. And that's why I always suggest to do the Reiki session first, kind of get into the groove, what's the first part of the hypnosis session. We do the Reiki as well.
Mm.
But the big difference is in the hypnosis, the client does all the work. The practitioner is just the bridge, and the client does all the work assisted from the archangels or whoever they relate to during the body scan. And that can be a little bit scary for some people because they don't always know how to do a body scan. It's sometimes their first session. And that's why we always do the Reiki session first.
Makes a lot of sense. Really complements one another.
Mm.
I listened recently to a session that Aurora did with a client, entire session, taking her through the body scan. It was really, really fascinating to watch. I've done QHHT myself, so kind of coming from that sort of lens. And and I actually asked Aurora about this, and I said, and what struck me is that really it is about empowering people. They do the work. You guys are the facilitators, and you hold the space, you create the right environment. But at the end of the day, it's not somebody else coming in and taking over, and you don't have any say or any power. You actually, you're empowered through the process to start tackling this issue of healing yourself. And that, I think, is so important because, too many people are also on the other side of the coin, giving their power away and just dependent on so many things and so many people. And they don't realize how powerful they are as energetic beings. And that kind of helps you realize that, oh, it's actually me. I can do this, and it opens the path to higher realms. And when you realize how powerful you are able to unlock that door to that further spiritual growth. And that's what we all need, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you because a lot of people, when they come, like spiritual healing as a whole, it's like you can end up being dependent on the healer, wanting to go to the healer like every month or every 2 months, because it's like they do the healing and you need to be there. But with Reiki, or this particular Reiki and hypnosis, it's like you have to let go. You're just there to hold the space. The client needs to know they can self-heal. So it's about empowerment, because spiritual healing, because entities can be scary, right? And you feel like they can just overtake your life. But when you actually do the healing, when you're under hypnosis and you do the healing and you feel your higher self do the work, you feel like, I'm doing this. It's not the healer, it's not even your ancestors, it's like your higher self is doing the work. And so it's so important for people to feel empowered. Because for me, what I was struggling with, I didn't feel like spiritual healing was empowering. It felt like I became dependent on people, for readings, for every 2 seconds. It's like you, and so it takes away your power, it takes away and it almost like you start treating spiritual healers as almost as gods. Sometimes, you put them on a pedestal and they cannot do wrong, and they feel like they cannot do wrong. And yeah, so I like hypnosis because people do it at the comfort of their home, and they feel empowered, and they can watch the sessions when they're recorded, and they can actually take in everything. And their higher selves always encourages that, like, continue the healing. Don't think like a spiritual healing is just one session. Like, it's a day-to-day thing you have to do. Continue, watch your energy, watch what you eat, what you watch, all those things, they're integral to your own healing. So yeah, it's very empowering. That's what drew me to it mostly.
I agree with that. Now, for people that maybe not fully understand, can you identify sort of the main, I know they're very different, but the differences between Reiki healing and aura hypnosis, the R.A.A.H Reiki healing? Maybe take us quickly through the steps. If you want to do Maleshane, the R.A.A.H Reiki, and Pascale can do the aura hypnosis. Just take us through kind of what happens during a session.
Well, after a client books a session, I do all my sessions online. I don't do face-to-face sessions. We can meet on Google Meet, or with some people, because I know many South Africans are not used to using certain apps like Zoom or Google Meet. They're very comfortable with WhatsApp. So we can do a WhatsApp video call. What you're required to do is that you must just be in a quiet space where nobody will interrupt you. So I always suggest be in your bedroom where you can lay down and bring a candle if you have. It's not a requirement, but maybe a white or purple candle, because it helps with transmuting negative energy. And then I'll call you, and then we'll have a quick chat about why you want the sessions, what are the things you're struggling with. And I find it very helpful, because most people, when you're spiritual healer, they want you to tell them, like, like see for them this the problem. So I always want to talk to people so that I know what we must concentrate on, because they must, from the get-go, start feeling empowered. Most people know what's wrong with them. They don't really need people to tell them. So once you start having that conversation, they start being more comfortable. And I feel like, in a way, almost like channel their higher self, because then they start speaking about because a person can have like 10 issues, but the issues that they talk about is the issues we must concentrate on. So once they start talking, and then I know the issues, then I can, sense what needs to be healed, and then they just lay down, and then we start the session, and we go through the chakras, and then we go through the whole body, and they can bring in, usually I call in the archangels to assist. I usually call in Archangel Michael, because he's a very strong guide of mine, and he's always there, regardless. Yeah, and also some people are used to calling ancestors, but I do not call them, because with R.A.A.H Reiki, it's Angelic Alchemy healing. So we want to work with angelic beings, because they hold the highest love light, the source light, and they can go deep into somebody's DNA, deep into their ancestral line. There's nothing wrong with bringing other beings to support, to hold the space, but we work with angelic beings and that client's higher self. And so, yeah, they just lay down, and then I do the healing. And once I'm done, I give them the feedback, and that's it. And then they just go with their day. But we tell them, to take water, to relax during the day, not do any heavy labor or driving, just relax and take in the healing.
Now, Maleshane, do you see things in your mind's eye, so to speak, or
Usually with me, it's feelings. That's one of the things, because when you become a spiritual healer, you're like, I must see things, I must hear things. Yes, sometimes you do. But we're all gifted differently. I've been encouraged to tap into my feelings. What do I feel? Sometimes I shuffle cards for clients. They help me to see, but then it's like sometimes it's like they become more of a distraction. It's like sometimes just feel into your heart and so you can tell the clients. And once you really do that, they start resonating with it. So it really depends. Every practitioner is different, and they're gifted differently. So I would say, just go with whatever you feel and see. And once you start doing more sessions, you really start finding your rhythm. So it really depends on the practitioner.
That explains it very well. Pascale, maybe if you want to take us quickly through the aura hypnosis, what happens?
Okay. So if you book a session, there's a waiting period of 13 days that really sets the energy. You get to fill out an intent form, so physical, emotional, spiritual healing. the intentions set you already up for the session. And it already, sometimes you get answers to some of the questions you have, dreams, all of these very subtle ways of the higher self or guides talking to you. And then you also email me your 13 questions that I must ask for the higher self. And then on the day of the not question, the day of your session, yes, whether it's online over Zoom, I always do Zoom because I want the session to be recorded. Some people don't remember their past life or the body scan, so they can always rewatch it, or if it's in person, then you will come to me. We will start out with a chat, just, whatever you're comfortable with sharing, your life, how you got where you are, the things you're dealing with. And I'll go through the questions again to see if there's any changes that needs to be done. Then I will also do the Reiki healing, except I won't be removing anything. I'll just be adding the symbols, go through the subtle energetic layers of the body. Playing singing bowl, my orbophone as well. So there's a lot of sound healing involved. And then that typically takes about 40 minutes. And then it's time to induce the client. So I'll be reading a script and you will be placed into the theta brainwave, which is the brainwave you'll be using to travel through the quantum realm. Really, the higher self just guides you wherever you need to go at that moment, whether it's your happy space, a past life, a current life, outer space, whatever. It can be as crazy as it is. That is just your journey. And then after that, which will take, depending on the client, about a half an hour to 40 minutes, we'll start with a body scan. So I'll call forth on the higher self. And then do the body scan with the assistance of anybody that the client resonates with. Mostly it's Archangel Michael, like Shani explained. Yeshua is also always coming by, Divine Mother, or anybody else. And then we're going to do the body scan, which can take a while because we do the physical body. So if there's ailments that need to begin healing, like dental health, eyesight, entity removal of black magic, the healing of the tree of life, everything, you name it, we do it. And then once that is complete, I will be asking your 13 questions, and that will be answered by the higher self. And we obviously work through the past life. So if there's any clarification that's needed, we do that as well. And that's typically your session. And then the recording gets emailed to you afterwards with your 13 ways on how to support your healing journey. And that's about it. Yeah.
Beautiful. So how long is the total session?
4 to 5 hours.
4 to 5 hours. Wow.
Yes.
Like a whole day journey.
Yeah. So don't go to work afterwards. Just stay home and take a day for yourself.
And Maleshane, how long is the Reiki session?
I would say it will take 2 hours because I do a lot of talking before, and then the session maybe can take 40 to an hour. Then after that is like the feedback. But usually people feel very comfortable after like the Reiki session. There's too much talking sometimes.
Yeah.
So much but I try to keep it under 2 hours.
Okay. So Maleshane, maybe you can tell me, we spoke when we briefly spoke on the phone the other day about also, there's obviously a lot of traditional healers in South Africa that a lot of the African people kind of relied on for healing. What is it you see in that space that there's maybe some shortcomings or shortfall or dangers or issues, and where do Reiki fit in with that? Because I'm sure a lot of people would say, "Ooh, what's that stuff? It's like not our culture. It's not, is it from the devil? And you
Yeah.
get people that are
Well,
very kind of
yeah. With some traditional healers, they actually know Reiki. They are very open to. I know a few sangomas who are Reiki practitioners. And usually how people try to explain it, it's like if you are into faith healing or hands-on healing, when you pray over a person, that could be like the equivalent of a Reiki session because, with Reiki, we use the hands and we use the energy that comes through the hands and, it goes to the client. So a lot of people who have prophetic gifts where they pray over people, where they intercede for people, they are always attracted to Reiki. I know with me, with my ancestral guides, the ones that have prophetic gift, they wanted to be included into Reiki. But I had to explain this. Reiki, it's more of an angelic Reiki. It's not ancestral Reiki technique. So I would say that there are people who are very open and understand it. I think generally people struggle with Reiki because it's remote healing. And so they do not really believe that you can facilitate healing via Zoom or WhatsApp video. So I do get a lot of people that inquire about it. And then they're like, once you say we don't meet, it's over a video call, they like, no. So I've been called a scammer a lot of times by people after I tell them because they don't believe in it.
They don't understand the quantum. The quantum knows no space and time.
Yeah, you have to explain it, but unfortunately, it's how we approach healing. We go to healers, and healing is very physical. Somebody prays over you, or they give you also medicine. People are used to that. So every time I'm also being asked, "Are you going to give me something?" Because it's like it seems like it's incomplete if I don't give you some kind of medicinal plant. And so they're used to that. They're used to like practical solutions like that. And so, yeah, but people are also very open-minded. Most of my clients are first-time Reiki clients. Like they've never done it before. I find that South African are very open-minded. They're very
open. The younger generation as well.
Exactly. They are very open-minded. People are not really restricting themselves to be like, okay, I'm this, I can only do this. With the older generation, it's much more difficult, but even with them, I feel like people are more open-minded. But yes, you always get those people who will never ever do it. They will just never do it because it doesn't resonate with them. They just completely just even tell you they're gonna pray for you because you are scamming people. Yeah, so it can be quite difficult, but I always advise people just do one session and see for yourself, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what type of cleansing you get, whether it's physical or over a Zoom call. At the end of the day, you must feel a difference of some sort in your life. So and most importantly, I always tell people to talk to their ancestors before they book a session. So I will say, communicate with them and tell them you're doing it with me, because actually that's what I had to do once I started doing Reiki. Some of my ancestors, they understood Reiki and some didn't. And then I was then advised to you have to bring them together, talk to them, explain to them, this is the practitioner, this is when you want to do it, this is the method, explain it as much as you can. And so that's what I always tell my clients, go and talk to your ancestors so that they can understand, because some ancestors, they're very overprotective. When they don't understand, they can stop the session, they can, maybe even mess with your Wi-Fi on that day, because it's not that they have bad intentions, they don't understand what's going to happen, they don't. So I always say, please just talk to them beforehand, and then usually it goes very smoothly without any issues.
Do you find
Yeah.
that you sometimes have you ever tried to do Reiki on the land? Not
Oh, absolutely.
because Mother
Absolutely.
Earth is also a
Reiki is,
being, right?
yeah. With Reiki, this technique, lots of practitioners do home cleansings, the land cleansings, animal Reiki also. So it's not limited to a person. You can do actually, I would say me and Pascal will always say that land and body healing Reiki sessions go hand in hand. It's unfortunate people just want to do a body Reiki, but it's like it goes hand in hand because sometimes you cleanse yourself, but the home still has a lot of negative attachments. Because especially if you live with other people and not necessarily even your own negative energy, but other people's negative energy. So you always want to cleanse your home, and even your office area if you want to, because there's also a lot of negative energy in corporate spaces. So yeah, it goes hand in hand. It absolutely goes hand in hand because especially when you do ancestral healing, ancestors are always so tied to the land. So it's important to really do one after another.
Absolutely. Pascale, with hypnosis, what have your experiences been? Are people open to it? Are they getting more and more open-minded about it? Do some people really struggling going into hypnosis? Or if you can kind of get a general sort of overview of what you see.
Where I live currently, it's not very accepted. So depending on where you live in South Africa, like the rural areas, the very Afrikaans areas, people don't really understand. If you move more to the city, Cape Town, Joburg, those areas, I have mostly clients from there. They are open to doing it online as well. They get the process, and they're familiar with hypnosis. The thing is, you need to at least have some self-belief in yourself to think that you can get into hypnosis, because if you're trying to control the session or you're scared of what might come up, it's going to be very difficult to connect you to higher self or to induce you. And I have had clients that I've not been able to put in hypnosis because they just don't believe they can be. They're not comfortable with it, even though they're open to it. It's also very new. It might be their first session.
They're scared,
So
or they're uncertain, or they
exactly.
feel vulnerable. There's so many feelings that come up because you have to like really just surrender, right?
Exactly. And a lot of people these days, they're not open to really surrendering. They need some form of control. What I've noticed though is that the younger generation, like 19, 20 years old, they're very easy. They can go into it like nothing, and they can go and travel, and they can, they have these beautiful past lives or reconnecting to a lost loved one, and it's just so beautiful to see. But the older you get, the more difficult it will almost be to put you into hypnosis. Yeah.
I think a lot of youngsters are kind of born very different. They kind of, some call them indigo children, or different names that you call them. So they're much more connected naturally. They don't have to even make an effort.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, look who's joined us.
Yeah. Big baby.
And Pascale, what are some of the very interesting things that you've seen that's come up? Sorry, I just want to mention also, I know a QHHT practitioner that also uses like a, what do they call it? A surrogate for people that can't go into hypnosis. Do you ever work with like surrogates of people really can't, but they really want to kind of understand their past lives? Or...
We are planning on doing that, me and Shani, for people who don't have like WhatsApp connection or like Wi-Fi. It can be very expensive to buy data the whole time, and a session is quite long. So those people that are not able to do that but are interested in doing a hypnosis session that really do need help, we are planning that for the future. So yeah, where I'm probably going to induce Shani, or Shani's going to induce me when she feels more comfortable with it. Yeah, it's a work in progress.
Yeah, it's a work in progress, because most of my clients, it's like they will be suitable for a hypnosis session, but it's either there will be a language barrier, because you're really taught hypnosis in English, right? And some of them, if I refer them to Pascale, there's that language barrier, they're uncomfortable. And so we thought it's best that we do this type of thing where we help them be surrogates for them. But yes, absolutely, you can be a surrogate for somebody. Even a family member can be a surrogate. You know, I think the only requirement is that they do their own maybe R.A.A.H Reiki first. Because you always R.A.A.H Reiki, it means then you have released a lot of negative energy around you, and it's easier to connect.
No interference, right? You want
no interference. So yeah, absolutely. And also I would say with disabled people, some people who can't speak properly, or are disabled, or mentally disturbed in a way, it could help them to get a surrogate. Yeah.
So what do you guys think your individual and collective mission is here right now? What do you see for the future? Maybe if you want to take a peek into the future, how does your mission align with where we're going as a planet, really?
I would say me and Pascale, we always talk about South Africa and Africa, because, you know, in the New Age community, most of the people that are very popular there are Americans and Europeans, and they're very informative, but most of the time they concentrate on their particular circumstances there, whether it's the political climate, or whether it's what's happening in their communities, or and
they're culturally different as well, then.
Yeah, and also the spiritual issues that may be affecting them there that are not affecting us here.
What would you say are some of the unique spiritual issues that you see coming up here in South Africa and the continent?
I would say for us, what really has come up for us has been a lot of ancestral healing, which is something the New Age community in the US addresses, but not like us. Like, our people are into ancestral healing. It's so intertwined with their healing. It's almost like they cannot be any type of healing without also going into the ancestral tree of life.
Especially with the colonization that's been happening. So there's been so much trauma, and maybe perhaps much more than in a place like America that's been free for much longer. Not that they're really free, but but there was been very brutal colonization, in this country, and not just with the African tribes and African communities, but also others.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
first people that were thrown in concentration camps were the Boers, for example, and thousands of them died. Nobody speaks about that. And there were multiple cultures and people from different racial backgrounds that have been brutalized in this country, but specifically, obviously, a lot of the African tribes. So yeah, there is a lot of, especially on the land, and because it's such a powerful country in terms of resources and the gold and everything else that this country is rich in, there's been so much control. And even though the colonizers kind of left, they didn't really leave. So I can imagine it's quite unique, and that's why I'm excited about meeting you guys, because I really see it going to be very, very necessary and very relevant soon. And I think there will be a moment when people's eyes will open up and they'll be much more receptive. I'm talking about the masses as opposed to small groups that may be seeking this kind of healing now. And when that happens, a lot of people are going to need a lot of direction, guidance, healing, and
Mm.
and we need to have people that are from this land that they can resonate with and that they can help. So I find it very exciting.
Yeah. And I also like to mention that with hypnosis, you can actually just do a session just focusing on your ancestral line. You know, it doesn't always have to be about going to past lifetimes. You know, some people really, they come to us and they don't really care about past lifetimes. You know, they really just about their own healing and their ancestors getting healing and relief. So I would say that's really one of the things we try to concentrate on, because past lifetimes are important, but we have found that so many people are not really interested in that. Like they don't come to
It's not their first priority.
yeah, it's not their first priority. Even though maybe something they're struggling with right now, it comes from a past lifetime, it's not really a priority. They just want to heal it. A lot of people are into more ancestral healing, and also the land healing also is very important. And also a lot of dark magic has been done on a lot of land
Yes.
in South Africa. A lot of sacred spaces
Mm.
have a lot of dark energy and dark magic on them. So I would say that, you know, with the ancestors, and also you might be that ancestor that you go into, like into a past lifetime, you are that ancestor, and now you have come back to just heal a certain area and activate certain things also in your bloodline. Because once you remove certain negative energies, you find that the ancestral DNA gets activated, so that people in that in those bloodlines get activated and awakened to their true nature and what they're there to do. Yeah, so it's
Beautiful.
important. Yeah.
I just want to ask again about healing the land. Yeah, previously I was actually thinking specifically about things like ley lines, where there's maybe some black magic that's been left there, portals that are kind of closed, and then we're also dealing with things like tunnels under the earth where there's terrible things happening as well. Have you had any experience with like that level of healing, macro healing on the land, so to speak, if I can say?
Pascal, I think it's a source.
Is it for me? In a hypnosis session, I have not had. I've had ancestral healings in hypnosis sessions, but not a lot. I have done a Reiki session on somebody's land before that had a lot of black magic on it. With a lot of really creepy entities, not nice ones, that were slaughtered on the land. So people that were slaughtered on the land, animals that were slaughtered on the land that were stuck there. And I think it was actually in Cape Town, outside of Cape Town. Yeah, but I don't have too much experience with the land. Not a lot of people come to me and ask for land healing. They mostly come for trauma healing, yeah.
Maybe it's something that will come up more. So maybe not necessarily a client, but you know, you guys might work together as a team and go in there somewhere to scan a certain important place. I mean, you know, things like Table Mountain or Lion's Head, and I believe also the portal would be interesting to, you know, go and look a little bit further into those things and see where you can help with sort of bigger healing within the country itself and the land, which I think if that is kind of cleared and uplifted, then everything else gets a little lighter as well.
Yes, yes. Privately, here in Clanwilliam, where I am at, I do a lot of healing on the land, and there's a lot of beautiful magical creatures in the mountains themselves. And if you do drive up from Cape Town, you will see a lot of sleeping giants along the way. And there has been a lot of stories, actually, if you talk to the people who've been living here for more than 50 years, you know, about beings that they see, like one famous one is the really big water dragon that will move through the air, and a lot of people have actually seen the chakras. They think it's a UFO ship, but the crown chakra is this very bright white light. And if you go hiking early in the morning, you will see how he moves through the land and through the mountain passageways. So yeah, it's always interesting to talk to the people that are probably not in the limelight, but are more working in the background, and hearing the stories from them, and then actually experiencing it when you tap into the energies. And there's a lot of beautiful sacred energies here, from when the elephants were still here walking through, and the indigenous people. So yeah, it's all about just awakening that magical energy again.
And I think, the time that we're living in now, I mean, a lot of people believe, we know that we are moving into the photon belt. There's a lot more light coming onto the planet. We're moving physically into the Aquarian age after, 25,000 odd years. So there's a lot of indicators that kind of help us or support, really, for a time that has been prophesied, really. The golden age, the new earth, and all of these things, and how we are starting to see things on the mountain and in the sky and on the land that we previously weren't able to see. And I think that'll just begin increasing, but especially, I believe, with the solar eclipse in April, and then, the full moon, there's definitely some energies that have opened up. I think we can all feel it.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be an exciting time ahead as we move into, I've got to start wrapping up because I'm on a very tight schedule, as I mentioned to you guys. Is there any
I just wanted to
final thoughts?
Yes, I just wanted to say that earlier before you said something about the Anunnaki, and one of the things me and Pascale try to do is that we want to get the true history of South Africa and Africa. Because we feel like that's what's lacking when we engage with other content online. So we really want to understand, because not all, like a race can come to earth, but not all of them are necessarily all negative. And also
there's a lot of misinformation out there.
There's a lot of misinformation. So we really try also to with hypnosis to really get more information, and really I will say a lot of history, even like excluding the Anunnaki, just like African history. I know I had a session where I had to look into the Zulu history, and there were a lot of things that I thought were true that were actually not true. And so we learn our history from books, and then we actually realize it's not true. It's not what happened. So I feel like it's also important that people know that when you do a hypnosis session, it's service to others. It's not just about yourself. What comes through is also historical information that is important, and that we want to share, so that we can also really start undoing all this information false history that we've been given. So I'll say that's also one thing that's also important to know, and we're hoping that we're going to do more of those type of things, so that we can really start informing people.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think there's a lot of history that we have completely a wrong handle on. And I'm even talking about the alternative media, and if you've done the research about the origin, the Anunnaki, and they had a lot of history in South Africa, what really went on there. And of course, you can't just say the Anunnaki and they all bad, or, this was a huge group of people, not all with bad intentions.
Exactly.
But, whoever kind of got the final say managed to rewrite. They say whoever wins the war rewrites the history books, right? Or writes history books. So that we do have a lot of distorted history. And even, as I said, even in the kind of awakened or spiritual community, I feel like there's something that doesn't quite click yet. There's more. And I've been fascinated. I've been going down that sort of ancient civilizations and ancient history now for almost 5 years. I've been quite fascinated about it, and I still feel like there's gaps there. There's things there that we haven't gotten to yet. And it's going to be very interesting to see when everything is revealed and what the true history of Africa is, as you say, and where certain cultures. And, you know, we get these, you know, we grew up on with shows like Shaka Zulu, and it's just been remade into a movie. And I feel like I don't think they're telling us the truth here. There's just like little nuggets there, but the rest is kind of just shaped to feed us, you know, to suit a certain narrative. And I can't wait for the day that we will actually find out the real history and all the nuances of what really happened. And I think by that time, our perspective and our understanding of things will be so different as well. We will see things very differently as well. You know, the way that we understand things now, I think, is going to evolve even much more over the years to come.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any final thoughts from your side, Pascale?
I just want to say thank you for inviting me onto this talk. And it's been such an honor to share my story and hear both of your stories, Shani's again. And I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
I loved it too. And I feel like we can talk for hours. And I wish I was pressed for time, then we could have carried on. But perhaps we can do another one in the near future. And for everyone out there, you can follow Pascale and Maleshane on their websites, on their channels and social media. All the links will be in the descriptions below, so you can find out more about what they do and go and check out their websites and everything that all the information that they provide there. And I strongly encourage you guys to start diving into that world if you haven't already. It is illuminating, not only for, you know, for yourself, but for your entire bloodline.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, guys. I look forward to the next one. And yeah, I'll be watching with anticipation as you blossom into this beautiful world of R.A.A.H Reiki and A.U.R.A Hypnosis.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Don't forget to share this content if you loved it. Share it with your family and friends, because we really want to heal not only the continent and the country, but the planet, really. So we're on a mission. Thanks, everyone. Till next time. Hope you enjoyed that session, everyone. And don't forget, all the links are below. You can also, by the way, if you haven't yet subscribed to this Rumble channel, which is now my main channel after being deleted twice from YouTube, please do, so we can get the audience back up, because, you know, every time you get banned and deleted, you lose so many subscribers, and they don't always know where to find you. So please make sure you are subscribed. I will start posting again on YouTube soon. I will let you guys know when that happens, and then check out all the other links as well. I've got beautiful orgonite now on my shop, vividearth.shop, and beautiful orgonite pyramids, pendants, 5G busters, as they call them. You can put them around your land, around your home. There's a whole sort of article that I'm going to share soon, how you can kind of protect your environment and how you can uplift the energies around you. And then, of course, we encourage you to, you know, do the healing as well, and to give Reiki and hypnosis a try. It's very, very valuable. And what else? I think that's it. Oh, and don't forget to check out my Zanzino shop with the beautiful balance oil that is a game changer for the health of, I say, just anyone on the planet. The testimonials are phenomenal, and the consequences of not getting enough omega-3 is quite dire, and it just fixes so many things in your health. So if you're struggling with anything whatsoever, go and check it out. Go and check the videos, and check out my shop. And I strongly recommend you give this a try. Wherever you are in the world, it's available to be shipped. So it's a Scandinavian company, sorry, and they ship around the world. So 100 countries, and strongly recommended. Anyway, I send you guys so much love, and I will speak to you soon.